Hi there, welcome back to Learn Academic English. On this channel, I teach intermediate and advanced level lessons for English learners who want to take their language to the next level. And I especially love to help people improve their English for school or work. So in today's video, I'm going to teach you some super easy ways to talk about effects. This is a very common way to discuss information in school and work. It's very common for a professor to give you a question like, what were the effects of World War II? Or what are the effects of an economic recession? So there are many ways that you can talk about effects, but probably the easiest and most common way is to use some transitions to do that. So in today's lesson, I'm just going to show you those transitions, how they work in sentences, and then we'll do a quick practice together at the end. Before we get into that, I'd like to remind you to please give this video a like if you find it helpful. Be sure to leave a comment and subscribe if you want more lessons like this one. Okay, so let's get into how to talk about effects with transitions. In English, we have many transitions that can show various meanings, and they're super useful for writing or also for formal speaking. To show effects, you can use the following transitional phrases. And sometimes we also call these conjunctive adverbs or adverbial conjunctions. Therefore, as a result, consequently, for this reason. There are a few more, but those are the four most common ones, and that's probably enough. But if you want to expand your vocabulary and try some other, maybe less common, more formal ones, you could also use thus, as a consequence, or even hence. But the word hence is not very common. It sounds a little bit old-fashioned and definitely formal. We rarely use it in speaking. Okay, so how can we use these in a sentence? The most common and the easiest way is simply to put them at the beginning of a sentence with a comma after. Silicon Valley Bank recently collapsed. As a result, investors are worried. So here you can see that we have the cause in the first sentence. What happened first? Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. Then we have the effect in the second sentence. What was the effect? Investors are worried. Then we use the transition as a result to show the cause-effect relationship, and we put it before the effect. This kind of transition can connect clauses in two ways. First, you can write them as separate sentences, just like we did here. Put a period after the first sentence, then put as a result, comma, to begin the second sentence. Or you can also use a semicolon. This is especially useful when the ideas between the two sentences are very closely related or when the clauses are not very long. So instead of making two shorter sentences, we put them together and make one longer sentence. But be sure that you use the punctuation correctly. In fact, a lot of native speakers don't know how to punctuate this type of sentence correctly, but you can learn the rule and impress people by doing it correctly. Good writers will often alternate between these different ways of using punctuation so that their writing doesn't get boring. All of these transitions use the same type of punctuation. So you can use a period and then consequently, as a result, therefore, for this reason, comma. Or you can use a semicolon with a small letter, not a capital letter because you're not starting a new sentence. As a result, consequently, therefore, for this reason. If you would like to use one of the other ones I mentioned before, thus, as a consequence, or hence, they also are punctuated in exactly the same way. So let's go ahead and do a quick practice. I'm going to give you a cause and an effect. And first, you're going to figure out which one is the cause and which one is the effect. Students experienced anxiety and learning loss. During the first 2 years of the COVID pandemic, many children needed to learn at home alone. Okay, so which one do you think is the cause and which one is the effect? Now, when you think about the cause, try to figure out which one happened first. So the first one, or the cause, is during the first 2 years of the COVID pandemic, many children needed to learn at home alone. And then the effect is what happened after. The effect is students experienced anxiety and learning loss. Okay, so let's go ahead and put them together with an effect transition. You can choose any of the ones that we looked at before. So for example, you can say, during the first 2 years of the COVID pandemic, many children needed to learn at home alone. As a result, students experienced anxiety and learning loss. Consequently, therefore, for this reason. You could even use thus or as a consequence, or maybe even hence. But go ahead and use the common ones first, and then you can maybe use the other ones if you need to add more variety to your writing for some reason. Remember that you can punctuate it with a period, the transition, and a comma, or you can change that period to a semicolon and make one long sentence instead. So I hope this little lesson helps you to understand how to talk about effects in an easy and clear way. This is super useful for all kinds of situations in school and work, especially when you're going to be writing. And it's a great way for you to improve your writing by writing clearly and correctly. Be sure to let me know if you have questions, and as always, check the description box below because I'll leave an example question that you can use to practice with me in the comments. Also, please note that I offer memberships on my YouTube channel if you would like more interaction, connection, and feedback from me every week. There are memberships of 2 levels that offer different things, so please check that out and let me know if you have questions. I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care.